Anime Adaptations. Hey everyone, Lashalukia with the mods of Controlled Chaos. We've got Ann Arbor, we've got
I am the best.
Party Charms, and we've got
Hello.
the big person themselves, Vex.
I'm supposed to be on hiatus, but I decided to stop right now.
Guess
Yeah.
what, Vex? I am here. I'm the only one.
Shut up, Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
Fuck up, Vex.
So, Ann Arbor, you can't say that in the first minute.
I don't think this is getting monetized
It's
regardless.
it's not getting monetized. So
These podcasts on the Control Chaos channel earn us maybe like 3 cents a week.
So the whole point of this came about because obviously in the past few weeks we've had quite a few animes announced from Jump. So I thought, hey, why not talk about them, give our honest thoughts about them, and also some of our favorite adaptations, and also some not so good adaptations. So this is why we're here.
That's pretty much why I came in. I'm like, wait, which one was he doing today? And then our DM's like, oh, right, it's the anime adaptations. I'm still here in my studio. So I wanted to just address one in particular. Luke, I think you know where I'm going here.
Is it the one that's on screen right now?
It is not. It is not that one. I could give two shits about that one. Live censoring myself. Ayakashi Triangle.
Oh right, yeah. Let me get that because I have them up here. So like where did I put it? There it is, right on the end. So there we go.
Put it in alphabetical order or something.
Yeah, I should have put them in alphabetical order, but
this one's rough, doesn't it?
Yeah, this one was quite a surprise because it came like right at the images came at like the right time for us. So it was like, oh cool, we could discuss this today. I don't know if Jones, if you've seen it, it's about Ayakashi.
Oh, I mean, I saw there was an announcement that it was coming in January. Yeah, that's what you mean.
Yeah. So the first teaser, they look like they're 5 years younger than their manga counterparts, which is going to lead this. If that's the animation style they're going to go with, it's going to lead this into like that interspecies reviewers area. And that's what I didn't want for this series, because I already knew like if it got adapted, it was going to be problematic. But it looks like they aged them down, which they already look young in this series. That's why I made the joke, like every time I read it, I feel like I should be added to a list.
Aren't they like 14, 15?
I think the Matsuri, the red hair one there, I think they are 16. I think they're both 16.
Yeah, I believe so too.
Which already is just bordering on that. You feel scummy with the context of the series reading it at times, given how lewd it can be. But now they look like they're in 10.
Yeah. I can only imagine when we get to the forbidden chapters, what people are gonna what they're gonna do with them. Like, are they just gonna
they already were on that like cancel Yabuki train a little bit on Twitter with them during the manga. Can you imagine like how just feverish it's gonna be once it's animated?
Oh yeah. Which, going back to those forbidden chapters, it does not make any sense considering the character themselves is a spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
at the very least, I don't think we'll hit the forbidden chapters. I'm not sure how far the adaptation will go, but unless they've confirmed how many episodes we're getting, I think it'll be before we hit that point in the story.
Probably. I assume we will just get 12 episodes. I assume it'll probably get the Yuna and the Hoy Dot Springs treatment, where it's just 12 episodes.
I think that's for the best here with this, at least the promo image that they gave us so far with the style they're going for. You know, I find this series very fun at times. I find it very questionable at others, and but it also is one of those like. I love Yabuki's writing, since Black Cat, because I grew up with that. And I knew he wrote some wild back in the day, but this one I really was hoping wasn't going to get adapted, and then it proved me wrong.
Yeah, I feel like we'll possibly the only way I could see it go. The only moment I can see it going up to is just before the introduction to Shadow May.
Yeah, and Shadow May itself is a fun arc. Like, I definitely recommend reading the series. Just cue your FBI open up memes.
Yeah,
Top the chapter up.
yeah. I would as well. Like, I know, but if you get a chance, I definitely would check out some of Shadow May's antics because they're one of those like fun yet when needs to be serious villains.
Yeah, for sure. And with what else do you have up, Luke? Before I have to dip out.
I have up because I got my list here. So I've got
Wait, are we moving off of Ayakashi right now? Or
unless you
Unless you say.
you had something to say. The list of ones that I've got up at the moment. Oh, where is it? I put it down here.
I was just curious what all you wanted to talk
pulls up
about.
the list.
Here we go.
I'm just here to complain about a lot of things.
All right. The list I've got here for the upcoming ones are Kaiju number 8, Dawn to Dawn, Undead Unluck, Yo's Fam, Bleach, Chainsaw Man, Ayakoshi, and Mia Roboco.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna move on, the one point I did want to bring up with Ayakashi, because again, I don't know how far it'll be adapted, but it is like a series I hope people give a shot because it's a fun series. But it's being animated by Studio Connect, and I looked into some of their previous works, but the only one I've seen that they did was Death March, which is basically one of the most generic isekais I've seen. And I mean that in more of a bad way, just because like this season there's a generic isekai I'm watching, which is amazing because it just kind of really leans into itself. But that generic isekai Death Parade was like super boring. I think there was a whole video essay I've seen. Someone's like, yeah, we've hit like the most mediocre of mediocre. And I'm like, it's true. So
Yeah.
but in terms of the anime itself, its animation was pretty forgettable. So which I think kind of sucks because the artwork for Ayakashi is like pretty top tier, like especially for an ecchi series. So I'm kind of a little disappointed by that. I want to bring that up.
Yeah. The only other thing on there is that I've actually seen was Strike the Blood, and that was way back in the day. And it was also produced with Silverlink, which has a better rapport with their stuff.
Strike the Blood. The nostalgia is back.
I have not seen Strike the Blood.
It's on my list to watch.
Right. So did anyone else have anything to say before we move on?
I just hope it's going to get a great opening.
I don't know what kind of opening you would do for Ayakashi.
I don't know. I
Probably
don't know
a goofy one.
Yeah.
More than likely.
It'll lean way into the absurd.
More than likely.
Well, it's most likely like every Shonen Jump will get some rock punk opening.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's Jump Plus now, so who knows what they'll give.
That is true.
No one cares. No anime studio cares about Jump or Jump Plus.
That's also valid because it's still at the end of the day, it's a Shueisha project, and
Correct.
Shueisha brings in money.
Mm-hmm. I mean, is Chainsaw Man going to be treated any differently than Jujutsu Kaisen, despite being
Hell
Jump
no.
Plus? I doubt it.
Oh God. Ooh.
Yeah,
you want to just roll into Chainsaw Man?
Yeah, we'll roll into Chainsaw Man. I really should have put these in order. There it is.
Oh, you also didn't think I would be here either.
Well, I mean, I don't think that would have affected anything. Just because we still would have wanted to figure out what series to talk about.
Yeah, that wouldn't have affected. So yeah, Chainsaw Man pretty much confirmed that we're doing the whole of part 1 from the trailer, because you see that clip of Power running away from we assume is Makima after she's been revived.
Yeah, and I think that's a good
Yeah.
thing to get all of part one, because most anime are supposed to be a way for people to get into the manga, and I think if you watch Chainsaw Man, there's only going to be so much of part two to catch up with. So I think it's great that they have all of part one. Plus, it's a complete story with all
Yes.
part
Yeah.
one.
And part one is you can perfectly have everything in 30 episodes.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, that they're
Go
adding
ahead.
stuff as well.
Yeah.
Will they confirm that, or is
They have confirmed that they're adding additional material. I think it is just to the fights, like to make them a little bit longer, because I feel
Oh,
like
okay, that's fine.
what they might have is the Death Note length, so it might be like 37 episodes.
I can see that. That would be a good number of episodes for Chainsaw Man, especially if they add some things.
Yeah, so I think this will be one of the series that'll like really blow up. Like Ayakashi, honestly, I could see that one getting pretty buried, especially depending on what service ends up getting the license for it. But Chainsaw Man, I feel like no matter what, it's gonna blow up. So
Yeah, even before its anime announcement, way back when I worked for Amazon, way back like 2-3 years ago at this point, it was one of the most popular things we saw there. Like we could not keep any of the volumes in stock in any warehouse, so it was pretty impressive how popular it was way back then. That's like before we even knew, like from the leaks from like what's his name, Yonko Production. Like it was just flying out of the warehouse. So and so was JJK, and that was like right when it got its announcement. They were like basically paired order. So I knew right then like this was something special, because it was just so massively popular just on the manga standpoint, and now with a whole nother audience getting into it, and it fitting so well into that 32 episode season package with like the additional content. If that's the case, it's just like animating the fights a little flashier, a lot like One Piece or Bleach. It's going to be the perfect like attention grabber for people to get back into like manga, get into like part two, maybe check out Fujimoto's other work. And the big thing for me now, by the time this airs, like part one starts airing, we'll only have like 20-ish chapters max for part two. So just condensing all of part one into that first package, and then maybe if the rumors are true and Mappa's CEO is just a massive Fujimoto simp, we'll see part two get adapted, part three, part four, whatever route we take by Mappa, and that there's going to be quality regardless of the practices of the studio. You're going to have quality each part, because they'll want to throw their whole best A team at this project, no matter what it is. And that's really impressive for such a small product, because at the end of the day, it's 97 chapters.
I know, and that is insane. Just the power of the power of, it's like, you want to know what it's like. It's like Makima literally came out of the series and was just like,
You're mine now, Mappa.
No. Everyone that buys a Chainsaw Man volume is like, you will buy a volume of my series and you will love me. We obey Miss Makima. Yeah, I'm just and again, I am hoping that with this series we don't get like a bajillion of a certain YouTuber who can't get out of their manga prideness.
Videos. She made 18 videos out of that 3-minute chapter or that 3-minute trailer.
I know. What?
Analyzing? Is she looking at every goddamn frame or what?
That is basically what she did. She was
that
putting
shit infected TikTok.
Really?
Yes, I found her content on TikTok. And
Oh my!
It wasn't her uploading; it was other people just dunking on it, which was gratifying to a degree. Because, like, how are you going to complain without seeing these in motion? Really, like, you've slowed down 24 frames a second to that massive, like, I'm speeding it up for this, because animation is supposed to be 24 frames per second. And when you go and record it, it's going to be in that like 30 FPS to 60 FPS, depending on how you process it. So, of course, whenever you go back to your edit bay, you're going to have it look like absolute shit because it's sped up, all while being slowed down. Animation's fucking weird.
Yeah.
And like seeing it compressed and recompressed from fucking like whatever screen recorder these people were pulling it from. I don't know how much you guys are on TikTok, but there's a famous like GTA race bit from the Goons, where it's like now looks like it's 2 FPS and it's in like 17 different languages subtitled. That's how it was looking by the end of how many people were dunking on it.
Oh my
Fucking
word!
fuck.
Oh my!
It was insane.
I will. One thing that I don't get about it is the fact that it comparing. If you look at her take on the "Please Don't Bully Me, Miss Nagatu" anime, she's a fan of that, and literally there was a side-by-side comparison between the anime and manga, and the thing she was complaining about Aki not having enough bangs in his hair, Nagato did not have enough bangs in her hair.
No, the hair form is different. I now have to complain about it for 10 minutes.
Yeah, like those types of YouTubers always really get me, and of course we're going to get it no matter what series we're talking about, what division of anime, what subgenre of this, right? As depressing as also really just a giant relief because you realize that there are constantly going to be people there to shit on them.
Yeah.
And that's something I welcome, even us, like if you want to shit on us in the comments, go for it. We'll make 30 minutes out of a fucking hour long review out of it, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
I loved that, and I honestly would have been fine if you did another 30 minutes just talking about that one line of Chainsaw Man's not real, it's American propaganda.
I fought for that to be the thumbnail. I really did.
I mean, Chainsaw Man isn't real. Just like Texas isn't real.
No. Let's not deny Texas here. No, I'm the American here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Americans are
so am
dumb.
I, but I'm also not going to be like you. We can ignore Texas if we.
We really can't. Ignore Texas, ignore Florida, ignore Alabama, and we're all good here.
I just
But yeah.
ignore America as a whole. No one cares about that.
I wish that were true, but somehow every other country needs us to be the focus. It's
I
weird,
hate
like I
it.
said, even
I
when
hate
you're
it.
showing, it's like, why was America the one country we spent so much time on? And then everything else was like, yeah, we'll just visit for a short while.
Yeah, visit and at a short distance. We've slowly turned ourselves into a third world country.
Yeah, you're a banana republic. The 1% has more money than all the fucking 99 others.
Yeah.
The 99% of other people.
Yeah.
The 1%
Yeah,
has more money than
Ben
the state
Arbor, that's the
itself.
American dream. That's the American dream, don't you know? It's just built by standing on the backs and corpses of others.
Yeah. And I should support that. I was raised like this, but hell no. It's America, so I can't support it.
Yeah.
Standing on the back of corpses of others sounds a bit
I mean, he's German, so.
I mean, Vex. First of all of Europe, every European country is made like this.
That is actually
British, the French, the Germans, we all hate each other and we all love each other at the same time. So we all have millions of bodies, most likely even more than America itself has.
Yeah. But like, just tying that into Chainsaw Man, I brought up one point in the last review that I really think is the defining factor of this series, and it's just the ability for Fujimoto himself to turn any tiny minor criticism for the series into commentary. And Red brought it up as well. Like all of those were like dialogues you would see in the vast internet, right? Like each one could be a YouTube commentary thumbnail. Each one could be like its own title or description or a tweet. And with part 1 and part 2 in particular right now, I predict those exact things to be like episode discussion titles or descriptions or whatever, because that's how the internet works. And it's so fascinating how deeply entwined Fujimoto's like take on reality is with that, because he knows no matter what he does, there's going to be criticism for it. But at the same time, you're going to get a wonderful plethora of and just massive flood of people coming into your product just based on that, either out of hate or out of love, because you're going to pique people's curiosity regardless. Like, what is this that this person's talking about? I've never experienced it. I've never watched it. Let me throw on episode 1 or episode 2 of it. I deleted a tweet that I was writing today about piracy, for example, and how it's used by a lot of people, because a lot of people use it as like a test pilot for, am I going to like the thing? And then I went to the person's page. I'm like, what have you done before I criticize that? And I'm like, oh, you actually work with studios and work with a bunch of like comic publishers that I'm interested in working with. I'm not going to dunk on you too much, but at the same time, I'm like, I really kind of wish I would have hit send tweet on it, because they don't understand that, like, for a lot of people, that's their initial way to see it. For example, like people that don't want to actually dive into Chainsaw Man are going to go and probably pirate the first 2 episodes, go to like watch anime online dot whatever it is now. I haven't used that site in like 5 years at this point, because I'm afforded the ability to actually, through like ad revenue or just my own job, like pay for Funimation, Crunchyroll, whatever, High Dive. I still can't believe that's a fucking thing. But I'm grateful it is, because it has all the uncensored versions of these series. But that I'm afforded the ability to actually go out and watch them legally at this point. But for a lot of people, that's not the case. They don't have the funds to get every single volume, not get every single subscription service. So for a lot of people, that's their outlet. Do I like this enough to support it? If yes, I buy the thing. If not, I lost no money doing it. I feel like that's going to be like the massive influx for it, is like with these first few first like arc itself isn't that great in hindsight, but once you get into it and you get those people to like, especially the fucking orgy chapter, that's where I see this coming into play in particular. Because there's going to be a massive controversy, like, oh my god, they showed an orgy on this. And meanwhile, the fucking rating for this is going to be MA-17.
Yeah, it's going to be 18 in this country for Chainsaw Man. I've got
16 in Germany, bitches.
Oh, you really are the lucky devil.
I don't know if that's luck or that's just how little his country cares. But it's going to be like MA-17 here for sure.
No,
and it's
sexuality itself is just more openly accepted in German media, so we don't care about things like that.
Fair.
Yeah.
But the massive gratuitous violence and everything is what's really going to get it that 17 plus rating here.
Yeah, definitely. And also another thing I am worried, but at the same time, know it's probably going to happen, is the action toxicity that's going to come from this.
Can Denji beat Goku? Answer the question, Luke.
Can Denji beat Cancer? If he can also beat Goku, because Cancer bigger Goku. I've learned that on YouTube.
Denji can beat Goku because he would just eat him. But the point I was making was,
say about eating them? in the world of Dragon Ball, like when the Dragon Balls just wish him back.
Well, it wouldn't because he wouldn't exist, and there wouldn't be a body or a soul to bring him back.
But the War Devil kind of throws a wrench into that because they remember the nukes, despite
And Makima remembered the Nazis. She remembered my neighbor.
Yeah,
So?
yeah. I'm curious. Like, are we going to get like an explanation for that? Like, how despite being erased from existence, people still remember these things.
I mean, I'd hope so, but I think Shonen OG like had a video where he kind of explored a theory about that. So it's pretty interesting if it comes to be.
The only people who we have who remember things are the Horsemen of Apocalypse and War and Makima, and maybe even the primordial devils should be able to remember that.
Yeah, because they technically have existed long enough to have seen, and both they're coming into existence and they're going out of existence. So they would remember a thing, just not have the maybe like I don't know. It's fucking weird.
Just
I mean, I just attribute it to time traveler memory, like the Doctor from Doctor Who. Like we literally erase things from existence, but he still remembers because TARDIS.
Yeah,
maybe
so I just assume
like,
because devil.
Maybe it's something like if you see what is eating, you are not forgetting it. Just as Makima said, she saw him eating all the things.
Maybe it's weird to think about, like how much the Control Devil influences this world.
Yeah,
I mean, she is Control. She is British.
But yeah, the point I was trying to make was that people are going to come in. They're going to because I think it's unanimous that we all love. I don't know about you, Pyjams, and you, Ann Arbor, but
it's like
me, Fex, and Red. It's universal that we love the cinema chapter. I don't know what your guys'
Everyone loves the cinema chapter.
Right, there we go. But there's going to be those people who are just going to be there like, I don't care about this. I don't care about character development. I just want action, caveman.
I know Americans exist. You don't have to name them.
But yeah, that's the thing that's going to be worrying me the most about all of this. That they're just going to look at it at a surface level.
There will be a lot of people who watch media just on a surface level, especially anime, as it's more like comfort, something to what you watch to comfort yourself. So I won't even be mad about that, to be honest.
I more or less expect it at this point because no matter what the media is, like CinemaSins has ruined media literacy, like 100%. And now that we have so many film critics and we're fucking guilty of this, critics of manga, anime, whatever. It'd be hypocritical not to even call ourselves out at this point because I fucking hate slow chapters and a lot of things if they don't make sense of the plot. If they make sense of the plot like they do here, I love it, because you were exploring both Makima and Denji's emotions at this point and seeing if one or both of them were still somewhat human. So it made sense here. But when you just shoehorn a generic, slow, nothing chapter into it move it along. Keep it going. But here we have like a very deep, meaningful moment. And it's going to get dunked on 100%.
I also am afraid of the pacing of the anime about that. The pacing of the manga was great. But that in an anime, I don't see it that they will make it good. I just see it flop on the standpoint of that is an anime. And the pacing will be shit.
I don't think it will be. I don't think it will be that. I think the pacing will be all right. It's just a case of will people's attention be kept in the more like, okay, now we need to slow down after this big action set piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But the one scene I am looking forward to the most for anime onlys to see is everyone's favorite breaking of a main character. Well, yeah, and he's not here. He's not here now. But just gonna say what Tyler said when he first saw that. Denji buddy. That is that's ingrained in my memory of
right.
just Tyler just being like traumatized of the breakdown of Denji.
It fits though, because now we've seen we're now seeing like how deeply that affected him too. I think I didn't bring up too much of it, but I feel like he's still broken from that moment. It's still broken from like the death of power, the fact he has to consume somebody he quite literally loved for a moment, and he wanted to be with Makima. He wanted to have a family with power and Aki and so many characters that just died in front of him. And I think that's a big reason why we see him like regress to essentially monkey mode here.
You know why I think that's happened as well? Is that not because of everything that's happened, obviously, but also I think my theory is is actually coming into fruition that Makima is alive in Denji's subconscious, and she's
don't think so.
She's always coming out at him, like she's always there as a constant reminder of what she did to him.
I don't think so.
Because that's what Denji actually said at the end of part 1. Like, he wanted to become one with her.
Yeah, but I don't think so. I think she is fully reincarnated. Her also won't exist anymore.
Well,
I don't want her back. Her story is finished. She was a great villain, and she should just rest. Just like in that meme, you shouldn't overuse something good.
Fair enough. But I just feel like it would make sense for the series as well to like that Denji, just because of the fact that he does love Makima, but also
he could draw Denji sucking my dick, and it would make sense in the Chainsaw world.
That is fair.
This is a universe that exists on absurdity, just like Dandadan.
Oh yeah, and I have not read properly Don in like ages. I've just felt like this is too much.
No, it's just enough. It's just enough batshit insane for me.
It was too much for me.
It shut my brain off
in the beginning, honestly. But it's honestly like one of the best ongoing series I'm reading right now. It gets to that point, which is weird to say considering where it started. But yeah,
Dandadan's like the only series in Shonen Jump I intend to start, unlike all the others right now, which I didn't already start.
I don't intend to. So you have a bunch of series. I don't intend to start this one. I just say I will, but I won't.
That just sounds absolutely insane, and I love everything that I hear about it. Unlike Ayakashi Triangle or the good spy manga.
Which spy? Spy?
Oh, I think he's talking about Mission Yosakura Family.
Yeah, I won't start that because I don't care. But Dandadan is just insane. That's why I want to start it.
Oh, Dandadan is batshit, man. You'd enjoy it.
Yeah, but we're gonna get to eventually we're gonna get to Yo's fam in a bit.
I got about 20 minutes before I gotta dip out. So
okay.
What series do you want to talk about next?
But yeah, anyone got any final thoughts for Chainsaw Man?
I'm hyped. The CGI looks great.
Yeah.
I wanna save a lot of thoughts for that first episode, but so far everything looks really good. Dandadan's the last one I can really fit in because that one is just my guilty pleasure at this point.
All right. So, has it been announced yet that Dandadan's getting an anime, or is it just rumors?
This is a heavy rumor one, and I think it's going to at this point. It's based solely on the fact that the studio Wit is following the author, and that's basically the whole basis for it.
Yeah, which I honestly don't think is like okay. Wit Studio is like probably my favorite animation studio. So if they did do Dandadan, that would be amazing. But I honestly don't buy into it that
No,
following
The
someone.
source is just trust me, bro.
it really is, and that's why I really want to touch on this one in particular. Just because the studio follows an author does not mean that it's going to be animated. They might just like his fucking work and like, this fits within our wheelhouse of what we've done, and it kind of does because Wit has done pretty much everything at this point. But I feel
Or
like
maybe they're just in talks. Who knows? Because this
Mhm.
whole process probably takes way longer than most of us realize.
yeah, but so few people apparently follow the author, or they just wanted to fuel the rumor mill at this point. It'll get made. This is popular enough to get made.
Oh yeah, for sure. This is literally just a matter of when. Like with Yozakura, I was always like at the edge of my seat hoping it does, just because the sales were never super great for
they
this,
weren't.
as long as it's been going on. But Don to Don, yeah, it's just time.
Yeah, and maybe when it eventually does come, I might check it. I might check it out again. But it just, but again, it just got too weird with like
What was
Eddie-
it? The search for the testicles,
No,
the Turbo Granny, the
well,
giant
yeah, the
lobster
search
thing.
the search for the testicles, the talk about aliens having their bananas in Momo, and recently just from what I've seen, like just Momo subconsciously making a giant mecha suit. I'm like, what is this
Well,
series?
technically-
What? Wait,
Technically, that's an alien
wait.
metal.
Yeah, Ann Arbor.
All just sounds awesome as hell. What you're talking
Ann
about.
Arbor, in the recent chapters from what Vex has read on stream, there is Godzilla's son and Momo, the main female, on screen in a giant mecha suit death battle.
This just sounds like my wet dream.
It really is.
You want? I just want to say quickly before I let you come. This reminds me of have any of you guys seen the YouTuber Dominic Noble and his Lost in Adaptation? Oh, Vex is gone. It
Okay,
probably been
well,
back in a
I
bit.
bet.
But yeah, have any of you guys seen that YouTuber?
Nope.
All right. Well, for context, they do like comparing movies to the books they're based on, and they did. Oh, he's back. He's back.
I had lost signal there for a second. I don't know why.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
it's fine.
already
I
have
was
to
just
move on.
I was just gonna quickly tell. So like, the YouTuber does books and movies and compares them, and they were doing the Hobbit trilogy, and they had a skit in it where they were joking about a writer being high on Red Bull and wanting many crazy action scenes, and they were like, "I've got it! When they're fighting Smog, they're gonna make a giant mecha robot." No, there's no. It's fantasies. There's no giant robots, but I want a mecha robot. And I was just thinking about that, like. This reminds me of that skit, and it's kind of like the author going, "I want a mecha robot in my series."
yeah, that's pretty much what happened. There was like
Yeah,
no
here you
president
go,
for
Ann
a
Arbor.
giant robot, but then
Even-
he's just like, I have an idea.
Yeah, and I want a giant mecha fight against Godzilla.
There you go. It's in the mod chat. Like, this is this week's chapter, which I haven't read because I was saving it for stream. But I just want to get like a grasp of where it's at.
Yeah, it was a good chapter. And again, I'm going to talk about another Shonen OG video. He actually talks about some of the science behind the giant robot.
I love how Shona OG, because isn't he's studying science, isn't he?
I thought he's in law school.
Oh, oh yeah, he is. I apologize, OG, if you ever see this, but I love how he's always doing that with series, like trying to debate the science and like, no, this is actual science. He's pretty much being like Senku in that regard.
Yeah,
I love this series.
The little bit of his content that I watched, like he breaks stuff down really well. I try not to dwell too much on AniTube, but shit fascinates me at times.
Yeah,
I
I will say he's one of the more chill ones because
yeah.
it's just He's just expressing his opinion. He's not doing it in like a this is actual hardcore facts, and if you agree with me, you are wrong. If you disagree with me, you're wrong.
I mean, to be fair, we are kind of biased because we have done videos with him before.
Yeah.
I can say that I haven't. So yeah, his shit fascinates me. I'm unbiased here. But no, like the thing that really got me into Don was I love shitty sci-fi, and this is just that perfect amount of shitty sci-fi. Like my guilty pleasure is like I don't know, any of you ever dabble into like the Scream Factory, Shout Factory side of things, or Arrow Video?
What?
So
I have not. Go ahead.
They basically just reprint like films that are lost to time, like really, really obscure B, C, Z horror, schlocky stuff like Trauma-esque movies, all the way up to stuff like The Fog and Slumber Party Massacre, for example. Questionable now, but they're really like products of their time kind of movies. But like I love that kind of sci-fi and horror because that's what I grew up on. That's what my uncle got me into horror and sci-fi on, was those crappy like made on Laserdisc movies. And this really got me like, oh, sounds like this is an episode of some shitty B sci-fi show that's going to get canceled after 13 episodes. So I'm just going to enjoy the ride. I did not expect the series to have any staying potential whatsoever.
Well, yeah, me neither. But then I think 3 arcs in, it got really actually good, and I was surprised at myself.
Yeah.
Well, considering the author was an assistant to Fujimoto, I think that should have been a sign of like, yeah, this is gonna last.
Well, I mean, we've had assistants to assistants to assistants at this point, and the stuff hasn't lasted.
Fair enough.
And to be fair, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, what I was gonna say is, like everyone was, saying, oh, this is an assistant to Fujimoto in the beginning to promote the series, but in the beginning, it really felt like what the author took away from Fujimoto is how to make a huge amount of shock value to grab an audience, and so it didn't really seem like the substance was there, but then later on, you get that. So
yeah, for sure. The thing that I've always like, just because they're assistant to somebody doesn't mean they're going to, have the same potential. This is a magazine that is very brutal in its execution. So I'm more akin to wait for something to stay for 20 chapters, more or less at this point, to know like, hey, this is actually going to stick. I'm like, it's got Fujimoto's name in it. I'm going to read it from chapter 1. It was really, really fun. I was reading this alongside fucking Devilman during the early streams. So realistically, those streams have died to the annals of time other than the best of compilation at this point, because there is no way in hell I could show half of that shit in any way content-wise.
No, especially when I sent you that series about the after-school torture club.
Not just that.
First of all, the After School Torture Club is awesome.
The fucking Valhalla Penis Mansion one. That one is ingrained in my subconscious, you sick fucks.
And we are proud of it.
I unironically read that off stream that same day.
Of course.
It is the dumbest pile of shit I ever read. Just the title alone should have been an indicator, but I'm like, why not? 1,000 faps and you're transported to this island. Why not? Fuck it. I've read dumber hentai plots at this point. Thankfully, we're 40 minutes in. This can at least get some ad revenue.
Okay.
Yeah. Even though I don't monetize my stuff on my channel.
I've always said by like the podcast can get monetized because I'm genuinely curious how monetization on it works on the fucking main channel, and Red won't fight me on it, so I'm good with that.
So let's see. So there's not much to really say on this because it's a rumor of a rumor, but if it's it'll be like on the top of my list of stuff to watch and tell people to
Oh
watch.
God, yes.
It'll also be like, okay, guys, like much like another series we'll talk about a little later. Like, okay, look, it starts weird in the beginning, but it gets really good later. I
It
promise.
gets
I
really
think-
good around chapter 35, I promise, bro. Kind of series.
That
Yeah, but at least in anime, that's like only a couple episodes.
Right.
So,
yeah, that was what I was gonna say, Vex, when you mentioned like you are giving series 20 chapters before they succeed. I'm at this point I'm bumping it up to like 40 chapters because of the fact that we've just had Duran end at 36 chapters, and we had Phantom Seer end at 30 chapters. So I feel like we have to bump
That's
it up a
fair.
bit now.
That's fair. I feel like
yeah, I don't know
20 is
how
that safe
Earthchild
number.
lasted this long.
Oh, like now you're here. Now you since you're here, Party Jams, and Vex is here. Do you want to do your rant on Earthchild?
Oh, I thought we were saving that for another one.
Yes, let's save that for another one. 'Cause I'm
Okay.
not going to be here much longer.
Okay, fair enough.
You want to start on Yo's fam, and then I'll dip out when I need to dip out.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. So,
Let's
okay.
go.
I unfortunately have an interview tomorrow, so I'm staying at the old place. So.
Okay.
How dare you seek yourself a job?
Oh no,
Yeah, you want to
I'm
live.
supposed to be a slave for content forever for you guys. I know,
How,
but
how,
I need to pay my rent too.
how dare Vex have a life? But no. So yeah, after 3 years, it seems like
No,
we're
3
finally
seasons
getting.
is fair. 3 seasons
No.
is fair.
No, I
no,
meant to
he
say
means 3 years of manga.
3 years of manga. It seems like we're finally getting the Yo's Fam adaptation, which is very much long overdue because at this point, I think it's like the 5th or 6th. It's one of the longest running at this point.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
One Piece, MHA, like basically a bunch of series that are about to end
Yeah.
are
Right.
like older, but it's going to be the oldest in like a year or something. So when like the anime comes out, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like this, despite it being not as popular as some other series, I feel like once the anime starts to come out, it will get the boost it needs, because a lot of people are. I feel like a lot of people just disavowed it because of the fact like, oh, we've got Spy X Family, so why do we need to read this series? But the fact is, it's like, despite the initial setup between them of like the main difference is that Tayu and Mutsumi are a legitimate couple, unlike Yor and Lloyd.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's what makes it more interesting than Spy X Family, because they're not quote unquote dicking around with each other.
hmm
True.
Yeah. So just to say my piece before I have to dip out because my ride's here. I'm very happy this is finally getting its adaptation, but I don't think, like you, that it's going to get a massive boost at first. I think it'll be a little bit later on when people see how different they really are, because it's still going to suffer from the like, it's another Katekyo Hitman Reborn clone, or it's a Spy X Family clone. But once people start actually giving it a valid chance, they'll see how different it is and how darker the story is. But I don't think that'll happen until like a season 2, if it gets a season 2, because we don't know how they're going to handle this. If it's going to be like a 1 core, 2 core, what kind of order it's got. And the other thing that I think is going to suffer from is we're getting a bunch of heavy hitters in the next couple seasons. So depending on how far out this is, it might be up against one of those. It's obviously not going to fall into the Bleach season because that's in like literally a month, or Chainsaw Man season, but we still have season 2 of JJK coming. We still have season or core 2 of Spy X Family. I hope the fuck it doesn't go up against that, because that would be like the worst death note for this series.
I don't think it will. I think the best place to put it would be to have it air right after Doctor Stone season 3. I feel like that would be the best option, because if they do that, then we're gonna have like hopefully the end of Treasure Island. Then it's like, oh, we've got a new series to keep our attention while we're waiting for season 4 of Dr. Stone.
Do we know who's animating it yet?
We don't know. My hope is that I
'Cause
mean
we know fucking David Productions got Undead Unlock,
which
which I want to vomit.
which I would be happy if it was something like in my own personal opinion the studio that did Dr. Stone.
TMS, yeah, that would be
Yeah,
nice.
I feel like they could do that because they also did Toradora as well back in the day.
Yeah.
So I feel like they could.
That'd be a nice fit because they can do the action and they can do the slice of life that sits in the series very well.
They have done Lupin the Third as
Mhm.
well, so and Sonic X way back in the day. So they have done like action mixed with slice of life before. So
I
that should
mean,
be a decent fit.
yeah, I mean, Scarred Hero wanted Clover. I think he said Cloverworks, and I was like,
no, get the fuck out of here with that.
Well, in their defense, they have been doing good with Shadow's House this season.
I want Toy to animate that shit.
No,
Get out.
Never.
Go with the Conan Arbor. But yeah,
be animated by Toy, and I will be laughing at all you graphics all the time.
Yeah, I feel like season 1, if they were to do 12 episodes, it would probably just go up to the mansion invasion, like that part, and then when Tayo first awakens is blooming. I feel like that if they did 12 episodes, because then that way you also get introduced to Momo as well.
Mm-hmm. And we know where that goes. Holy fuck.
I know, but the reason why I want you to read Mission Yozako Family is because of Momo Yozako. Like,
you've already taught me everything about him.
Like, but no, I've got a really terrible theory that if and I might as well tell Fex since it's here, like, if because we had all the Yosako family getting prepared for the main mission to rescue Shinzo and Futaba from Momo, and I was actually there, and she's being included part of the family. I've got this really awful feeling that if she's brought on this mission, Momo will use that to his advantage to blackmail Mutsumi.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, there's plenty of possibility for that. Momo is a classic type A manipulator, so we're going to have like every possible trick in the book thrown at the family, and I love that we are not afraid to get dark in this series, whereas every time we get something seemingly dark in Spy X Family, it's just played off as cutesy or just has zero payoff whatsoever, honestly.
When I've got to say, when Momo brought out like the heart of his wife and was just like, "Your mother's here, guys! Look how happy!"
I've got a jar of heart. I've got a jar of heart.
I was like, "You are insane, dude!"
Yeah.
And then it just kept getting darker and darker to the point I was like, "This guy, we need to do a debate on who's
he belongs in Arkham Asylum, like this is somebody that does not need to see the light of day ever again.
No,
but he will. But with that, I gotta start heading out. So thanks everyone. I'll see you in a couple weeks in content. Peace.
Yeah, see you, and also as well, see you next, because we're still doing the Dino Fury binge.
Yep.
Yeah,
Dino Fury.
See you then.
Yep.
All right. Right, so yeah, what I was saying was that I want to definitely do like a comparison of Shao Tucker from Fullmetal Alchemist versus Momo Yosakov. Like, who is the worst dad? because he definitely gives Shao Tucker a run for his money.
Yeah,
no, he wouldn't. Shao Tucker killed his own daughter. Momo didn't.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Shao Tucker killed his own daughter. Momo hasn't killed his own children, from what I know.
No, he hasn't killed his own children, but but he has he has messed about and manipulated the best female in the series, Futaba. And
Yeah, but manipulating a grayson is not as it's not as bad as killing their own children outright.
Yeah, but I wouldn't put it past him at this point, because that probably is going to be part of his plan. Like he'll probably try to kill some of his family. Which if they killed off any of the Yozakura members and stay dead, and Momo was like, we're together as one big happy family, I'd be like, this author is a better author and takes more risks than Horikoshi.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see where that goes.
We'll just
Although, to be fair, that's not a huge part to clear right now.
No, I think this author takes more risks than Horikoshi, because there is actually characters that actually die in the series, and not just like, oh, we're gonna kill them. Oh no, wait, this one random character that's literally only been in like as many chapters as the famous Shield hero is gonna revive one of the main characters, and you're just like, what the hell?
Well, to be fair, some characters did die in MHA, but that's a discussion for another day, I think.
Yeah, I think it is. But yeah, Mission Yozakura family, really looking forward to it, and hopefully it's done well. I think a lot of people are. Yeah, I think it's good. A lot of people are going to be like a bit like, don't really take to Korichiro at the beginning, but I will admit he has gotten a lot better as the series goes on as a character, because you actually see like why he is the way he is.
Agreed. The other thing I wanted to bring up for this series in particular is Yo's Fam is like a series that really just barely managed to scrape by and then become the incredible series it is now. And I think in part, and I still stick by this, even though some people might disagree with me on it, is the early parts of the story did kind of flounder a bit. And so I hope when it gets to the anime adaptation, they do better with the early structure, because they'll be adapting all that early stuff where the story was kind of just establishing things. Like you said, the mansion, like that might be where it will end, but that was around the part of the story where things really started to get good, in my opinion. So the earlier stuff, I hope they structure in a way where it's more engaging, because I feel like this is another anime that will have trouble getting people unless it has either one, really good animation to go with its action, or two, its storytelling is more streamlined.
Yeah, I agree. I think it mainly suffers from what I think a lot of us would call the Dr. Stone effect, in that at the beginning, similar to Mission Yozakura, Dr. Stone at the beginning kind of fumbles about of just trying to work out what it wants to be, and it's only when it gets to like when Senku gets to the finish, that's where it starts to really kick off. It's the same thing with Mission Yozakura family, and I think that had to do with I'm not sure if this is true, but it might have had to do with a change in editor that he had around that time.
Could be, but I also want to say, like with Dr. Stone, I think they also still did a decent job even during the early parts of the story. But second, Yozakura, I think, had that same problem as Dr. Stone. And many series, I want to say, have this issue, not just these. But they had it for like much longer, like a couple of months worth of time, where Dr. Stone, I think, was just the first couple weeks of chapters.
Okay, that's fair. But I think what people may take away most from the series is just like the insane amount of personality that the series has, because you got the main Yozakura family, and then you've got like many of the side characters, which I really wish, like that is one criticism that is valid, like the side characters are incorporated a little bit more.
Yep, and the cast will definitely be holding up a lot of it for sure. And I do think it'll have, like you said, a increased boost in sales. But at the same time, this is a series I think that'll actually like a lot of other series that we'll be talking about later, I feel like will be nearing their ends. But this series, I think I don't know if it'll continue much past its anime or if it will stop around the time the anime is gonna be out, because there's plenty it could do. But then I've from previous history, I've learned I'm very bad at predicting when an
Yeah,
author wants to end a series.
yeah, and I'm not guessing anymore because it seems like week to week, whenever we think like, oh, we're in the end game, the author throws in a curveball that makes us think like, okay, is this going to last longer? Like recently, when we had that mysterious shadowy figure, I'm just like, is this like the next big bad
That's your
after
mama.
Momo?
Mm-hmm. And then it's like, okay, well, it could keep going from there, like with the gold ranks as well
Yeah.
after that. So there's plenty it could do, but then it's like, and it might just be because of the anime. Like maybe once they figured, oh, we're gonna get an anime, then they decided, okay, I can keep going because the series will be safe for a while.
Yeah, and also as well, I feel like Jump would want to keep it around for that very reason. Like a lot of series are either entering just enter their end game or are close to their end game, because we've got like Undead Unluck, we've got potentially JJK, definitely My Hero Academia, and
Definitely
also
Black Clover and
Black
definitely One
Clover.
Piece.
What One Piece, I feel like has still got like what Oda said, 3 more years. So
4 more years, yes, but
yeah,
that
but
is Endgame in Shonen Jump.
yeah, but Black Clover, I don't see lasting any more than a year at this point. And my hero, I'm gonna be fair and say February at the very latest. It starts doing the epilogue chapters.
Yeah, and also I'll add Mashal to the list as well because it's in its final arc, and there's no
Yeah.
way it's lasting more than a couple months.
Yeah, and Elusive Samurai, like even though they'll probably beg the author to carry on, like considering what he did with Assassination Classroom, I feel like it's already past the halfway point. I mean, I've not read it in ages, but
I mean, reading it now, it's like really in kind of in the middle of like it's the main part of the story. So I can't tell you. I could honestly see it going longer personally, but yeah.
fair enough. Yeah, and like I said, like the thing that made Michiyo Sakura be around for a lot longer is because of the fact that it came out at the right time when a lot of big series were ending. So it's kind of like, oh, we won't end this yet, and now it's got like a clear direction. It's got a dedicated fan base, and hopefully, one thing I do love about the Missionaries Core fan base is that despite how crazy some of us can be at times, we do try to at least encourage people like, hey, give it a read. You're missing out on something great here.
Yep. And hopefully the anime will get more people on board.
Yeah.
And speaking of like a series surviving through a bunch of big series ending, I'm hoping the same will be true for Smartphone, because now with Earthchild having confirmed to be ending next week, it's like, okay, well, now what's at risk for being axed?
Yeah, because we got
the big problem of too much text.
My
Smartphone.
Smartphone has way too much text on its fucking pages.
Yeah, I feel like I need to do like a side by side comparison between that and Witch Watch to see which series has the more text heavy.
Yeah, that would be kind of fun. But I do see what you're saying, Ann Arbor. I think it does still a decent job, and I think the last chapter was not too bad. And also, Earthchild is way worse at some of these text bubbles, and it's worse because of just like how they arrange it. That's a whole rant, I'll say, for the year. I'll be bottling it till then.
Yeah, save it for the end of the year where we do like the State of Jump update video. But yeah, so that's really all my thoughts on the Michigan Sakura anime potential announcement. So, which series did you guys really want to put focus on? that's upcoming for an anime?
I want to kind of do Undead Unluck. Ann Arbor, do you have any preferences?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, all right, we'll do on the. I'll just get rid of. Oh, that. How coincidental that I put it. Right next to where I had Mission Yosako Family.
Okay. So yeah, Undead Unluck. I'm assuming we're all like caught up on this one.
Yeah.
I dropped it.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh, wait, Luke, what happened?
No,
okay,
no.
it's fine.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one, what I find interesting about Undead Unluck, I mean, well, first, we already said earlier in the stream that this will be animated by David Productions, which, for those who don't know, it's like Fire Force and JoJo's and like extremely good at action.
How did it get David Production? Like, were they really simps for Andy?
I mean, it's like David Productions definitely should work on something that's like a major battle shonen. So if they weren't going to do something like Mashal, it makes sense to do Undead Unluck. It's like a very dynamic fight. Plus, like with Fire Force and JoJo's, I think, and this series, like their battle systems are very involved. And so I think it makes sense for David Productions to do this one. It's just surprising because the series, like in terms of sales, has been kind of declining. Like rapidly.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's been worrying me the most. Of like, as this caused the author to feel like I need to get to the end game as soon as possible. I feel like we'll know if it's the end game if in the next few chapters they're like, "Oh, we're at the base of God," because as soon as like that happens, like, yeah, we're in the end game.
Yep. And the other thing I wanted to say is going on what Luke was saying is that this is a very interesting position where the anime is, I think, scheduled to come out next year. Was said. I don't know if we have an exact date, but I think sometime next year. But this is an anime that might come out just as its manga is ending. So I find that kind of funny. Because, I mean, on one hand, they have the complete material, so there's almost no reason to not adapt just about everything. And two, this is not a series, I think, that will get much of a sales boost. I mean, I think we'll have to wait for the next volume if the announcement helped at all, but this series lost a lot of fans fairly early on.
Yeah, it lost me very early on because of the whole Billy situation, but I eventually caught back up, and yeah, I am glad I did. But at the same time, I'm like, it feels like it's been struggling to keep my attention recently.
I mean, I will say there is a dedicated fan base that really loves this series. Like, whenever I talk about it, I do find like there are fans who absolutely love what the chapters are providing, and the recent chapters have been decent. But it's more just like the story is at its end game, and so that's why it feels kind of good. We're wrapping everything up, connecting all the loose ends and whatnot. So that's what's good about it right now. But the series, I felt like had like a lot of inconsistencies in quality, but it's also had a lot of good high points. So it's a series I have tentatively recommended to my friends to give a try, especially now they know David Productions is there. It's like, okay, well, at the very least, this will survive based on its animation. Like this, I think, will be like very well looked at just for the fights. And I think even with its lackluster, writing, it's still going to be fine because people will just be watching for the fights.
Yeah, I'll never forget when they were doing the whole Ragnarok into the sun thing, and you were like, wait a minute, that makes no sense. And you had that big discussion with One Smart in the Discord server.
Yeah, I remember that too. I mean, at the end of the day, it felt more like, okay, so I understand what the author is trying to do. They just didn't use English correctly, which, to be fair, is probably not their first language. So I will say I think my anger was somewhat harsh, but at the same time, in retrospective, but at the same time, this series does do things that make me go, why is it doing these things? And I don't think it I don't care as much as the series wants me to care at this point in time. But at the same time, I also want to say that it does have a lot of good points in terms of like backstories for a lot of the characters and whatnot, and its battle. So I think it'll still be fine. But the big thing, I guess we should talk about, which I'm surprised we haven't yet, is like how the first episode will be, considering the controversial first chapter.
Yeah, it'll get people in that, like what Vex said. It'll get people in just because it's going to be controversial. But at the same time, it's no bigger controversy than what happened with Rising of the Shield Hero.
Yeah, and I think in that sense, both the animation, the controversy, this anime is set up to be like another really big one, which is kind of almost weird to say just because in terms of sales numbers, again, it's not a series that's that big in Shonen Jump, Shonen Jump, I think, originally thought it would be much bigger than it ended up being. But
Yeah.
I guess good for the author. This is like a rookie mangaka that got their series into an anime, lasted long enough for it, and it's going to be a very solid adaptation. So, I'm at least happy for them. But at the same time, I'm kind of hoping that their next work, because this one's definitely ending soon, is going to be improved either with better writing or a writer.
Yeah, I feel like what the author really needs to do at this point is plan their characters out a little bit better, so that we're not just I'm going to kill off this character. Oh, I haven't done the backstory yet. Here it is, right before they die. Or
at least better story structure, because I swear, like, there's still characters that I don't know what their deal is, and I think the thing that really annoyed me was they add like random shipping in their own story that it's like, where did this even come from?
Yeah, and also as well, like, I really hope that the anime does the Billy twist and the Nico twist a lot better than the manga, because they were like,
true, because since they have these things, they can probably set these up better. So that is a good point. They can set up a lot of story twists a lot better than the story did.
Because the Billy twist, that everybody know, that literally was just like, where did this come from?
Yeah, but again, I think Billy was still a good character by the end. So, like, this author has talent. I think they just lacked experience, and that's kind of fair enough. Because a lot of, I think, what I can throw at this person is the fact that there's new and raw, but they just need time. And that makes me excited to see what they come up with next.
Oh yeah, definitely, for sure. And I will check out the next work after Undead Unluck, but we know it's potentially very much in its end game, and hopefully the anime will be a fairly good representation of the manga.
Yep, and I think this one, much like Chainsaw Man, is one of the few series we can guarantee will be very quality and very hyped and looked after. Because like with Ayakashi, Yozakura, it's hard to say, depending on how those will turn out, where they end up.
Yeah.
But this one and Chainsaw Man, from the ones we talked about so far, I think are the ones guaranteed for success.
Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, I have nothing else to say. I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to say in particular about it.
I guess, I mean, earlier I said this, but I'm still not entirely sure I'm convinced of it. Do you think this will be a full adaptation? I mean, I feel like it should be.
I feel like if we do get like the because at this point we have had vague, like, we're in the climax stage, we're in the climax right now. It just depends on how long this climax is actually going to go on for.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I think this climax should be happening soon, especially because how the last chapter ended. It's like, okay, that felt like we're last arc, I should say, last arc.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how they could possibly extend it anymore. Yeah. Especially because this author, one of their other weaknesses is that they rush things a lot.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. I feel like when we start getting into the point that Fuko can control her unlock ability, I think that's a point where we could say, yeah, it's coming to an end.
Yep. So I guess we'll see how this turns out. Ann Arbor, I guess you have nothing to really add.
Yeah, I can't. One other thing I would want to add is that David Production would probably just animate all of it in one go. It's David Production; they always animate everything.
Okay, all right. So do either of you read Me and Roboco?
I do.
All right. So I guess we can do that next. I have been fascinated about Me and Roboco for quite a while, in the same way as I have been with High School Family, because they seem to be two series that I was like, yeah, these series are potentially like I cannot see them lasting, and a lot of people were like that about them, particularly for Me and Roboco. And it's funny how the opposite actually happened. Like people were like praising something like Fantasia and just ignoring Me and Roboco, and yet Fantasia gets cancelled. Why? Well, Me and Roboco is the one to actually get the anime adaptation, and I feel like now that we've got Roboco's adaptation, like High School Family is definitely going to come. It has to come.
Yeah, which is weird to say because, again, like you said, these are two series I didn't see lasting, but I think Shonen Jump just had a huge shift in focus to gags, which helped keep these alive.
Yeah,
Because sales-wise, they do not do great. I guess Roboco's doing slightly better with anime announcements, but it's still like not great. Like if any other series had these numbers, they would be axed.
yeah,
Or barely
definitely.
hanging on.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah, so Ann Arbor, do you read this at all, or am I just talking about this one?
You can just talk. I'm not reading any. I read almost nothing from Shonen Jump, so
Oh, okay.
all right.
Yes. Okay, so if I may,
Yeah.
this series, for anybody who needs reference, is basically, I think, funnily enough, described as the Family Guy of the magazine, where this series, or I guess if you want a nicer comparison, would be Gintama, but I think that's way too generous a comparison. Anyway, this series likes to make most of its joke based on references and repeated running gags, which is why I think Family Guy is a very apt description of what the series is. But the thing is, I think early on that did really bother me just because it just went on reference humor and like even some of its recurring jokes that weren't funny, they kept hammering it home. But a lot of the established mangaka, including Inagaki, the manga for Dr. Stone, like actually really liked the series. So I just figured it's one of those things Japan enjoys, like whatever this humor style is. In addition to that, I think what I ended up liking about this, because even though I've just been making fun of it a lot, is I ended up growing an attachment to it because it does have good emotional chapters that slowly build up like the cast and their bonds. And then at this point, I'm like, I do kind of want to see it's like, okay, what's the new gag for the week going to be? Especially because eventually they did come up with running gags I do enjoy. But also, I enjoy that they are building up the cast. They show more about the characters, and I really end up caring about them. And I think one of the things that people will end up liking immediately, and I think one of the things that I did enjoy in the early parts of Robica was the bully characters, because in every series, like there's always bullies that the main character has to deal with that just like torment them and make fun of them, and we have those characters. But what's funny is that the bullies in Robico are like secretly super nice and they're just teasing, like all the bullying they do for the main character who we see here. They do it just kind of like for his benefit or because they see themselves as friends. And I always thought that was funny. It's like, okay, these are the best bully characters ever. Because I hate that trope in most series because they're just so cardboard cut out. But here it's just like, oh man, these are actually great characters. And then eventually they get fleshed out pretty well too. And so I think Robico, I feel the way the anime will be adapted, it's will be kind of like Psyche K. If you guys, I don't know if you guys have seen that one.
I've not seen it, but I do know about it. Like it's the episodes, they're like 10 minutes long, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's how they'll be adapted. They'll do one episode will be a series of small parts of the manga. It might not even all be in order. They can just kind of mess with the order as well with all the content they have to adapt. And I think that'll work really well for this series. And I also want to say Psyche K is probably like my all-time favorite gag series if I had to pick one. So I think using that format will be good for this series because in a similar way to Psyche, it also does reference humor and has like a character cast you end up growing to. And even Roboco, like in the recent chapters, is actually getting a very fleshed out backstory right now. So I think the series will do decently well, but I don't think it'll be a very popular one. I can't see it blowing up because the gag series usually don't. But I think this will be big in Japan. I think the Japanese audience will love this series, and I'll definitely give it a shot. I guess I can. It's not one I'll tell like my friends, except for my close friends who I know love gag series, to watch because it's again very reliant on reference humor. And I will say one thing though, at least with this reference humor compared to other reference humor I've seen, most reference humor that I don't like is okay. The series is making so many references to things I've never heard of or have never seen or before my time, and so I can't understand the jokes. At least with Roboco, they reference modern Jump series, so I at least understand the majority of the jokes that they tell. Although I do kind of wish they relied a little more on some of my favorite series because they typically go for the really popular ones like Jujutsu Kaisen, which I love, but also like, let's see, One Piece, they do some bits, and they do Slam Dunk, I remember they did for one. So they do a lot of the really, oh yeah, Nisekoi one. But I wish they did more of like things like Witch Watch and Dr. Stone, which does come up sometimes, but very rarely. But
Okay.
yeah, Roboco's good. I'm looking forward to it, which is weird to say because I hated the series, honestly, almost in the beginning. But yeah, it's grown to be one of my looked forward to gags, although my favorite gag currently is Witch Watch for those.
Yes, yeah, I was going to mention that, like, because you were talking about Gintama, Roboco being Gintama, like, and I would say that more fits with Witch Watch being the Gintama of today.
Yeah, exactly, and I do think it's a better reference. Yeah, this is probably closer to Psyche or something, honestly.
Yeah. And speaking of Witch Watch, Nemu, get in the house already. I am gonna keep bringing that up as long as I can.
At this point, Gojo is going to get out of that box before Nemu gets in the house. Yeah. Although I don't think you'll understand that joke unless you know Jujutsu Kaisen.
I don't.
Okay, all you need to know is they took one of the most popular characters in the series and have kept him in a box for like over a year or something by now. I don't know.
Can I just ask one last thing about me and Roboco? One of the bullies that you're mentioning, isn't it that? Because I've seen a picture of one of the characters, and is it like that fat, like ugly-looking kid? Isn't he?
Yeah, he's one of them. His name is Gorilla.
I'm just like, what is this character?
Yeah, like his whole thing is he's a bully, but he's actually like a super nice guy who's a protective older brother and is self-sacrificial to the point of, okay, this is almost kind of scary. But yeah, he ends up being a great guy as well as the other characters too. I think there's only a few that annoy me, but even then I like most of them to some basal level. I do think the female characters are honestly pretty weak. But that's fine. I think the series has enough stronger elements, but its female cast is super forgettable.
Okay. Well, we're nearly an hour and a half into the stream, and I feel, and we haven't done like the main thing that we kind of did we kind of went in reverse order. So I think unless you had any thoughts on Kaiju number 8.
I do, but if you want, I can do it really quickly.
Okay, yeah.
I also have some thoughts about Kaiju number 8.
Okay.
One of the PCs I read.
Okay, and you can go first because I talked a lot for the last one.
All right. I would just say it all depends on how many episodes we're going to adapt and how far we're going to adapt the series.
Agreed.
Because, as me and Patram once already said, the series starts at about chapter 30. The plot only starts.
Oh my word.
About that. And if we reach that in a really good pacing, but I could see it going for in a long way and have a big audience. But like I said, it takes a long time, and I don't think many people will stick with the series till that point comes.
I mean, I would think that at least the early skirmishes, if they can animate it well enough, I think that'll at least get people's attention so that they'll stick with the series long enough
Yeah, but
to get to that point.
But do you think those monsters will be animated 2D, or will they use CGI for that? Because I can say with
Ooh,
guarantee
yeah, that's
they will
actually a good point now
CGI.
that you brought it up. Oh, God. Actually,
Hey.
that's the easiest way they could screw this up.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, okay. If they do that, then yeah, the series is actually just dead in the water. Well, okay, maybe not dead in the water. I think it still has like a decent story, but it's
I
not.
like this. I like the series. I really like it, but I can't see it succeed with the just with the pacing of the series in general and with the monster design. And if they really use CGI for them, I really can't see it succeed.
Yeah, the animation, you're right, is a good point. And the other thing I will say is, even though I feel like the story doesn't get good until, somewhere in the middle of this series, the early parts, at least, I think, are decent enough that I don't think, I think that at least competent animation can handle. But I will also say what I find weird about Kaiju number 8 is this is a series, like much like Spy X Family, honestly, where I was surprised that the series is even like got an anime adaptation. It's like it feels too soon for it to get an anime adaptation, but there's enough material by now, or at least by the time it comes out, for a season. At the same time, I think the first season is going to be mostly not much going on, so we'll see how that works.
Yeah.
Because I think like the early parts of Kaiju number 8, what kept my interest personally was the comedy of the series. Like I think it had like really great slapstick going on, and I enjoyed like the character interactions, even though the characters themselves weren't all that deep at that point. But that comedy, like thinking about it, goes much less later on in the series. They relies more on the action. So it's a bit of a mood shift, but I think at the same time, I was surprised how popular Kaiju number 8 got. Like when I saw the sales numbers for like the first couple volumes, I was like,
a lot of the main Shonen Jump titles.
Yeah, exactly. So I think in that sense, we also could just be very much underestimating how well it will do.
Yeah, I just think that it's really popular in Japan. This is just result from the sales. But overseas, you don't see anybody talking about it. And
I mean, I think I've talked to a fair number of people about this series. But I think the anime, I mean, again, you're right, provided the animation goes well, will probably capture more people's attention. Because monster fights are still like, a big thing here. We have like the whole Godzilla trilogy and more to come from the Monsterverse. So I think Kaiju number 8 will do decently, but I think you're right compared to Jujutsu Kaisen, CSM, and even Undead Unluck. Surprisingly, I think this one will have a harder time to guarantee success.
Once you say that, and then it becomes more successful than Chainsaw Man. And
Yeah, the thing is that honestly could happen. Just because, again, when I saw those sales numbers for the first volume, I'm like, oh my god, this isn't that good yet. Why you like? Because I remember early on, people were like, oh, there's so much mystery here that could lead to some Attack on Titan level stuff. And then I'm like, that mystery stuff only just got some focus, right? Like it's a little while ago and not even that much. This is very, very much an action-based story with like the actual story of it being in the far background. And the character writing, it takes a while to get good.
I wouldn't even say it's good that's right now. It's mediocre. The whole series is just mediocre, but not terrible.
I mean, I would say that like at least the last arc was actually pretty exceptional for this series, but not like it's still not like among my favorites.
For the series. But for example, the Shonen Jump series compared, it's not even that good.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely benefits from not being in the main magazine.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it has like a solid enough audience. It'll do well enough, even if it's mostly the Japanese audience, even. So yeah, I'm not too worried about this series. I think it'll gain popularity, but how popular? I don't think it'll be as popular as like Chainsaw Man. But like Luke said, there is that chance it could surpass it, but a very slim one.
Yeah. So, did you have any other thoughts on Kaiju number 8?
No, I just hope
Yeah.
it won't be CGI hell.
Yeah, now that you put it in my head, I'm scared of that too. And my
Oh
only
my-
thoughts are for the manga. I mean, I'm hoping that the current arc they just opened up is like, okay, well, we're going back to action. That's great. But like, I hope there's more story.
Okay, fair enough. So now that we've talked about the upcoming anime, I guess we can move into the next main thing of this modcast, which was the
Bad.
good and the bad adaptations. And I feel like we should start with the bad. And I've got my.
Am I allowed to start? Am I allowed to start?
I will allow you to start. Let me see if I can find it. Is it? Do we have it on here?
Not on this.
Oh, it's not on Viz. So I'm gonna have to dive into
Google.
see, can I bring taking a minute. But yeah, Berserk, go for it, Ann Arbor.
I mean, where should I start? I think it's infamous already that the anime is shit. It's made it's made of multiple studios. One studio wanted fully 2D, the other wanted it fully CGI, and they couldn't find the same ground. And everyone just fought against what scenes they get to animate. It was pure fucking chaos. Everything looks shit. The weapon, which is famously really big, really heavy, is being swung like it was made of paper. The heart is missing. Everything. The music is shit. There's literally nothing good about the anime that they made in 2016 and 17. It's hell on earth. It's hell on earth. I would rather talk with French people or British people than watching that shit.
While you're talking with a British person right now.
See?
Now, just to clarify for anybody who's watching this, only talking about the anime, not talking about the manga of Berserk. The manga of Berserk is it's phenomenal. What were you saying?
The manga of Berserk is my holy Bible. I'm praying to it every day and night.
There you go. You heard it. You heard it from Ann Arbor, aka the Lucky Devil. And if he's saying the anime is bad so badly that it has to be struck down by the wrath of the gods, then yeah, it should say something. What is your opinion on the 1990s adaptation?
I think the 1990s adaptation does a great job establishing that one arc it covers, but also it isn't the perfect way to experience the Golden Age arc, as it still cuts a lot of things out of that arc. Like, I think it cut out like almost 60%.
Really?
Yeah. About 40, 50, 60%, about that much. It really cut out. The movies as well, who also just cut out the Golden Age arc, really also cut out a lot of things. Like in the whole Golden Age arc, you're fighting against two demons, two apostles. In both the 1996 and the movies, you only see one. They cut out the whole apostle fight, which was like really important to show just the difference in power. And they cut out the whole fight of. They cut out a lot of fight which the mercenaries did to just show how grandiose they are, just how much they all trusted Griffith.
Okay. All right. My question for you is: can there ever be a good adaptation of
Yes.
Berserk?
Yes. And the director already said he wants to do it. It's the director who made the Castlevania Netflix series.
Okay, I never actually watched that.
It's
But what is
really
that
great.
like?
Yeah,
Um,
I can also say the Castlevania Netflix series is amazing.
and
Easily recommended to me.
the director already said that he wants to make his own Berserk series. He wants to skip the Golden Age arc because, as I mentioned, it was animated a lot of times, and just wants to try to start at the Lost Children arc, one of the most grotesque arcs in the series, and just wants to go from there. And if why I have so much trust in him is in the season 3 of Castlevania, you can see a love letter to Berserk itself. And
Okay.
they show to people we can trust them with Berserk.
Okay.
And
Alright.
and if Vinland Saga gets a great anime, then Berserk should get one as well.
Yeah. And also as well, if Demon Slayer of all things can get a anime that exists primarily on its animation, Berserk should be able to get it too.
Yes.
But yeah, I know very little about Berserk, so I don't have any strong opinions on it as a series, unlike Ann Arbor, and I know that I should, and he's probably gonna keep bugging me about it until I cave in and read it.
I will bug him about it until the heat death of a fucking universe.
I hopefully will eventually get to it. I hope so. Quick question before we move on. What is your I mean, I know you've said that your piece on on what is happening with the manga, but generally, are you liking it enough to continue reading it?
I am going to continue reading it just for all the memories and emotions I already have with Berserk. Just
Okay.
to see how it evolves. And I must say, the first chapter which came out, I think we already have 4 chapters out.
Yeah.
And the first 3 chapters were really short and there was almost no dialogue, just action pieces. I must say the paneling got worse. But
Right.
that's critique on a really high field where most people don't even care. But the 4th chapter really reminded me of Mayura's writing style.
Okay.
And gave me hope for the future.
All right. I've just got to ask, are there many chapters of Berserk where it's just like action set pieces?
No. As you just said, with Chainsaw Man, the movie scenes, we have a lot of chapters just with characters talking with each other, just expressing their emotions, just finding each other.
Okay.
Action is really not the focus of Berserk, and it's really, even though it takes a good part of the manga, it's not the focus.
Okay, that is honestly the most surprising thing I've ever heard about Berserk, because I was always under the impression that it primarily focused on its action. But okay, I will
focus more on the character and the character development and things. It's great.
Okay. I will. It will definitely be bumped up my list now of things to push myself to actually read. I mean, if I can get into Eden Zero, I'm pretty sure I can get into Berserk.
If you think Eden Zero is good, that's the problem. You haven't read Berserk, so you don't know what's good.
Well, here's the thing. Saying that is like me saying like, if I think Eden Zero is good, I must be blasphemous against Monster. Like, I put Monster on a very in the same way. Like, I'm sure you put Berserk on like the equivalent of the Holy Grail.
Yes, and you must understand like this: Monster and Berserk are both one of the greatest seinen. If some people talk about seinen, there are over 6 particular names that are often mentioned. Monster and Berserk are 2 of them.
Yeah, and like the way you are with Berserk is the way I am with Monster. It's like nothing touches that.
I
that
like
series
Berserk.
except Doctor Stone, but that's on a more different emotional pedigree. But but Monster is just on its pedigree of its own. So yeah, if that's all you had to say on Monster, I have got a series whose anime adaptation was so bad that I'm wondering how on earth did it get a second season. You know what it is. Party Jams probably knows what it is. Record of Ragnarok.
Okay, so I've only read like 50 chapters of the manga at this point, and I've not actually seen the anime because of everything I've heard. So I can't really speak towards how it was adapted because I purposely didn't watch it.
It was abysmal. It was basically, like we've been saying, slideshow of Ragnarok. Like the fight between Adam and Zeus, that was mainly slideshow. That was.
If I
Go ahead.
They shouldn't have promoted it as an anime. They should have promoted it as an as a manga, visual manga with audio.
Yeah, that is exactly what they.
If they
'cause
did that, I wouldn't have nearly as many problems.
the animation is pretty much non-existent to the point where you're like, movement in this series. Oh my god, I forgot what that actually felt like. So yeah,
I'm very curious to just like out of morbid curiosity to see it now, because at this point I probably am way past whatever the anime adapted.
yeah, you
assume.
are. Like it adapted up to the beginning of Jack the Ripper and Hercules.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
like two
yeah,
fights past that by now, I think.
Which that's what we're getting next time. And you want to know something crazy? The guy voicing Hercules is the same guy who voices Tsukasa in Doctor Stone.
Oh, actually, that's pretty appropriate.
That is
Yeah.
pretty. No. Was it actually that? Let me just quickly check. I think it was. I think it was. It was either Jack the Ripper or Hercules. Tsukasa, Doctor Stone, voice actor. Voice actor.
Okay, so I mean, yeah, this is a pretty infamous example. Again, this is the reason I was actually looking forward to this anime because I hadn't read the manga.
Oh no,
when I
no.
heard the announcement.
Sorry,
Oh,
my bad. He's not voicing either of them. He's voicing Buddha.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
That is
I like
interesting.
Buddha.
Buddha's
I
my
mean,
favorite character in the series, and I am just waiting to see how they butcher him.
I'm in the Buddha fight right now. I'm in the middle of it.
When you get to the fighters for round 8, because you're in round 6 now. When you get to the fighters for round 8, you will be like, this guy is probably one of my new favorite characters. I'm not going to say who it is, but you'll get a kick
I
out
think
of him.
you told me before, like
Human
you
or
actually-
god?
like that character reminded you of Senku.
Oh yeah.
Because you pointed out, and again, that's not a spoiler because again, they earlier in the series they did have a list of characters who would be fighting. They had like the roster.
Yeah. So yeah, it is Nikola Tesla. That is
such a great character.
when you get to him, you'll be like, this is Senku if he was in Valhalla.
Yeah,
I
and
love
I
Tesla
guess
so fucking much.
Yeah, but I'm just worried that he's probably not going to survive this fight.
He will totally lose.
Yeah, and that's a shame. But yeah, going back to the anime, like I am curious, like how they're gonna fit like everything into season 2, because we've got
wait,
we've
so
got
they
the-
are getting another season of this?
they are getting another season of this slideshow thing fiasco. Although, to be fair, to play devil's advocate here, they are getting another animation studio as well on top of the one that they had for season 1. So
And the trailer looked pretty good in compared to his first season.
So hopefully, I think Netflix saw the complaints that people had, and they were like, they probably buckled under the complaints of like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have made these fights feel like they're just the manga panels colored in with audio. It's basically like what I'm doing right now. Like you got like Thor and Lubu here. That's basically what the anime is. Just still frames and a voice on top of it.
Okay, well, I may just have to see like an episode or two just so I have this reference.
The only thing that I will give the anime credit for was for one of the funniest dub lines that I have ever heard, because it's just so out there, but just reminds me so much of the scanlations that you see. So it's from Broomhilda, and it's when Lubu and Thor begin to fight. She drops the F-bomb in the dub of the anime, and then you have Gol saying like, "You did not just say fuck," and then she's like, "I know what I said, sis." So I will give them credit, because I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much probably a reference to the scanlations.
Interesting. Oh, and I think I'll have to head out now, but it's been
All
fun
right.
talking to you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
catch
that's
you
fun.
later.
Later, bro.
Right, so yeah, going back to what I was saying, I think like after this we'll do a couple more, then talk about one of our favorite adaptations, and then we'll call it. How does that sound?
Sounds fair.
So my only complaint about my only concern about season 2 is like how much are they actually going to adapt, because they've got Jack the Ripper versus Hercules, then they've got Raiden versus Shiva, and then they've added Buddha into that. So I'm like, how much are they going to adapt? Because the
I
Jack
think
the
that
Ripper,
was it. What you already said. Those 3 fights.
yeah, but the thing is, the problem there is that Jack the Ripper versus Hercules, that goes on for quite a while.
Yeah, but if we have a slideshow, doesn't take long, Luke.
Oh yeah, good point. Ugh. My only theory about this is that they might is that we have Jack the Ripper versus Hercules. That will be episodes 1 to 5 if they're doing the 12 episodes. Then we have Raiden versus Shiva. That would be 10 episodes, and then you could potentially the last 2 episodes be the introduction to Buddha versus Zero Fuku.
Yeah.
Because that would be a great way to end season 2, with Buddha just being the Chad of Chadders and just being like, yeah, I don't care about you gods, I'm going to fight for the humans, so come and fight me if you dare.
I like Buddha. But how could you spoil that he betrays the gods, Luke? That's a spoiler.
Oh, people, I am sorry for the spoil. I am sorry for the spoiler of people.
I'm sorry for a spoiler about something that happened almost 1 or 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's like when people complain about hey, a spoiler happened nearly 20 years ago. The Pharaoh dies in Yu-Gi-Oh.
I didn't know that. I never watched Yu-Gi-Oh. No. Yeah, but it's the same as if I say Wizardmon died in Digimon Adventure.
How could you say that? I mean, it wasn't like it was like over 20 years ago at this point.
Luke, I wasn't even born when that happened in Japan.
And I was when did that happen? That was 1999, so I would have been 8 years old.
Yeah, I wasn't even born.
Yeah,
think about it.
I know.
Things that. Yeah.
I am not pulling any punches when it comes to spoilers here. If people are offended by that, I don't care. But yeah, that is really all I have to say on Record of Ragnarok. It's just like the first season is just an abysmal slideshow attempt with audio on top of it, and I don't need to think about it in the same way I don't need to think about the other anime adaptation that I have got here. I pretend this doesn't exist whatsoever. I mean, I was gonna say One Piece. I might as well just say it's not One Piece for you guys, but I'll just say quickly with One Piece and then get onto my real one. Is
just,
that
One Piece? It has a reason why it represents the bat in the thumbnail. Think of Dressrosa.
Yeah. So let me find One Piece in here. Have I gone? There it is. There it is. So yeah, I didn't anticipate the stream going on for as long as it did, but here we are. So yeah, One Piece's anime adaptation. Just to clarify, the manga is really good. Like it's really good. It's got the legendary status for a reason, but the anime, you get anybody who's been on the Control Chaos channel knows how much they crap on the anime, and if a
Can
certain
Yes.
can I just quickly say, like, if a certain other YouTuber, Twitch streamer is watching this, I apologize because I know how much One Piece, particularly the anime, means to you. So I am very, very sorry in advance for this. To give you context, Ann Arbor, there's this YouTuber and Twitch streamer called Tanya who I used to watch on a show on CBBC when I was younger. That just says something. And I only recently found out she was into anime and into One Piece. So I started talking to her, which was kind of a surreal moment. Someone I used to watch on TV, I've actually started talking to. But yeah, when we did our bit on One Piece last time with Red and everyone talking about pre-time skip versus post-time skip, she came in and she didn't like that we were crapping on One Piece, and she said her piece about it because of how One Piece means to her. And I'm like, okay, I get that. If you're offended by that, I apologize. And I've invited her once the 1-0 arc concludes to get in a podcast with me and Red, and like what you saw the tweet that I posted, didn't you?
Yeah,
You
you didn't include me. I was
Oh,
offended.
if you want to be included, you can be.
We are not friends.
If you want to be included in it, you can be, because it'll be quite interesting to see like what some of the criticisms we have with the Wano arc and how she goes about them, because I think she won't like us like complaining about Yamato.
I just want to scream at Red about putting Thriller Bark above Wano, but that's just me. But I want to say about the One Piece anime. There are exceptions. If Megumi Ishitani directs an episode, it's always a banger. It's always great. And I just wanted to say she's a queen, and she should always direct One Piece. Please, One Piece would be the best anime in the world if she directed every episode.
Yeah, and to its credit with One Piece, some of the filler arcs are not that long as well. They're only about like 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah, but we don't have a lot because we stretch episodes for a hell of a time.
Yeah, that is my main criticism of why I feel like by default One Piece is one of my least favorite adaptations. I wouldn't call it on the same level as the other two that I had, which are no, the ones that I'm going to talk about. What was I going to say? Yeah, that's the main problem, is the fact that it's just so slow in places, to the point that you've seen the infamous sumo clip where we have Luffy going I honestly, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for when we do that One Piece modcast talking about Wano, because I've got the title of it already now. What Wano arc, a One Piece fan debate. That's going to be the title. I want to see what Tanya says about that, because literally in the manga that is literally only half a page.
Yeah, I mean, there are things you can stretch for making good quality material, good quality filler, like the green web or the transformation scenes of the Jammer,
or
not the Zumo thing.
Or here's something that you could do: the cover serials. Do that.
They did that in the past. Like we got the buggy cover story as a filler arc. for like 2 episodes.
Which, by the way, speaking of Boogie, okay, I get it now with Boogie of like how he became a Yonko. It was
This
it
is
was
not the One Piece talk, Luke. This is not the One Piece talk. So
I know. I'm just gonna quickly
moving
say it.
on.
I'm like, okay, fair enough, Boogie. Fair enough. But yeah, the One Piece, and again, it's just the slow pacing of the fact that literally finisher attack moves go on for like ever.
The anime devolved into Dragon Ball Z standards.
I have not seen Dragon Ball Z, so I'm not gonna say anything.
This is just my comment to that, and I would say let's go on because
Yeah.
we are not talking about Megumi Ishitani, and I don't want to talk about anything else about the
Okay.
One Piece anime.
So yeah, just One Piece anime. Please stop stretching things out. But at least I can safely say the One Piece anime didn't do what this anime did.
I'm not looking at the screen right now, but I'm picturing. Luke, listen to me. I'm picturing that you've opened Promised Neverland.
I have opened, in my opinion, the worst anime adaptation of all
Look,
time.
it's not the worst anime adaptation. It's the PowerPoint presentation.
It's not that oh yeah, the PowerPoint presentation, but no, just in terms of sheer disappointment and sheer like insult to one of my favorite series.
Look, am I allowed to say something funny?
You can say whatever you want about the anime of the Promised Neverland.
My ex-girlfriend liked season 2. That's the reason why I have to pronounce the X.
Where is my Death Note? Where is my Death Note? I need my Death Note right now. How can she?
Look,
That
that was the point where I noticed I don't understand that this can't work. Promised Neverland helped me break up with my ex-girlfriend.
Okay, at least something good came out of it. Because now you belong to us, Ann Arbor.
I already was part of you. I knew you before I knew her.
I'm going. It's not just season 2. Season 2 is a whole different kind of words. It's why I've not done like what's the difference between the anime and manga for season 2 of Promised Neverland, because I feel like at this point, what is even the point? We all know it's bad. We all know that it completely ruins Emma's character. It completely ruins.
They skipped the Goldie Pond arc.
They skipped the in my opinion, my honest opinion, better than Escape from Gracefield. I do not care what Red, what Furman, what Fex says. Goldie Pond is better than Escape from Gracefield.
Oh, please, Fex can suck my cock. The Goldie Pond arc had everyone working together. Not just, look at us, we are main character, we have main character bonus.
And it's not
Goldie
just...
Pond arc had everyone helping together, working together.
Yeah, and it had legitimate stakes because you saw what happened when you have these characters go up against the demons and
a noble demon.
And you want to know something that I appreciate about Goldie Pond is that none of the some of them were, but like the big ones, the big major ones, Byron and Luvis, they were. You have series that build up like, oh, this big threat that can kill us if we're not careful. Hey, eventually they diminish into like just fodder. Whereas with Byron and Luvis, they showcase like, oh no, these demons are actually powerful. They are the real deal.
Yeah.
And that again, like the Luvis fight of just like you have like 7 characters going up against this one character, and even after they blasted away his mask, it wasn't an easy victory for them. It took every ounce of trickery, deception, manipulation, manipulation. Now, depending on how you see it, if you do see the ending as the Deus Ex Machina, I don't. But even if you do, it was still just a satisfying conclusion to the arc.
Yeah, I really like Goldie Pond. It's like you said. I have to agree with you. It is the best arc in the series, and they
Yeah,
fucking skipped
I
it. They skipped it.
And considering it came out at a point where the author was like, "I need to make up stuff for the series to continue on," they did a very decent job, and it has Hugo and Lucas, two of the most fan favorite characters in the series.
And they were just erased.
Well, they weren't erased; they went out in a blaze of glory.
I mean, in the anime.
Oh yeah, in the anime. And I will say I do like the conclusion to their story as well. Like their story arcs are one of the better written in the Promised Neverland. But yeah, they were just erased. Now, the only preferring theory that I have gotten for this, for why they skipped over Goldie Pond, is because of the fact that I think it's to do with the laws in Japan, because of the fact that I think it was because the kids were going all guns blazing. That's probably the reason why they skipped over it. That is the only explanation. That is the only explanation that I have been able to find about what happened with Goldie Pond.
I find it really funny. I just find generally that how strict the rules are for television in different countries. As here in Germany, I think we can literally show anything we want almost on the television, except for straight out porn. But everything else is fair game.
Can Germany just fund an anime version of the Promised Neverland manga properly so that we can get Goldie Pond?
You know what? We don't have animators for that, so
damn it!
I'm sorry, but we will probably have a kick-ass anime opening.
Yeah, but yeah, I think my reason why I can back up this theory is because, like, you see guns in other series, but you never see kids wielding them. So that is like literally the only explanation I can think of. And a lot of people are going to be like, well, what about the guns in Doctor Stone? And like, here's the thing: it's only the adults that are wielding them. It's never any of like the. It's you don't see Suika going all guns blazing against Stanley Snyder, although that would probably be cool.
You had that problem already with One Piece. If you look at the Focket's censoring, something that we in Germany never got. Our Helmepper had the musket held to Kobe's head.
Oh, you are the look devil, really.
Look, you need to look at it like this. We are already teach stuff about World War II in grade school. We are learning things about war in grade school already, so seeing weapons in fucking anime or cartoons is nothing for us.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, it's not just season 2. And I will admit, as much as I like to pretend that season 2 doesn't exist,
it doesn't exist. It's the same as Berserk anime don't exist.
There are a few things that I do like. I do like how Mujika, for as little as she was in the series, I do like how she was portrayed. Although I don't like how Songju was portrayed. But yeah. What was I gonna say? There was something else. And I do like how Peter Atari went out exactly the same way as he did in the manga, which was basically a big FU to Emma. So I do like that, even though Peter Atari somehow was made even more of a weak villain in the anime than he was in the manga, if that was even possible. But yeah, it's not just season 2; it's season 1 as well. Season 1 has its problems that if anime fans haven't seen the manga or probably don't care, they're probably not going to know that is about. This is the thing that made me really get mad at the beginning of the Promised Neverland. It wasn't the character designs or anything like that. I'm not going to be picky like that. Like some other people who would be picky about the jawline of a character not being right,
Or the pendling not being perfect.
or the paneling not being not being quote unquote edgy enough, even though you don't need to be saying scenes in the dark for it to be edgy. What was
The
it?
edgiest shows, one of the edgiest shows is Madoka Magica. I never saw something so colorful.
Yeah. But yeah, it was the fact that they had a filler scene with Ray looking out of his window, and how did they compensate for this? By taking away the reveal that Mama was like the children herself, and that really pissed me off, because that was like, oh, we actually have a motivation for why she's doing what she's doing now.
But who needs motivation if you can just be, I'm bad because I am bad. Why I'm bad?
Yeah.
Because I'm bad. And being bad is already bad, so that makes me bad. I
Yeah.
am bad.
And another
Call me
thing,
bad.
and another thing as well that really annoyed me was this just doesn't make any sense in the context of the series, right? It's the final episode of season one, right?
This mama being on the wall when
Yes!
they're escaping.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so for context, anybody who wants to know what I'm talking about here, in the manga, you have Mama going like, "I'm gonna capture the kids and I'm gonna bring them all back." She's rushing along the road. There's tension of like, is Emma gonna make it over the wall? And then it's realized that Emma did make it over the wall. Mama didn't make it. She was too late. And that was great for Emma's character, because it showed like, yes, we have surpassed the person that raised us and person that taught us and the person that was our mother. In the anime, Isabella catches up to her.
Can I just say something?
Go
The
ahead.
whole anime, they always played hide and seek. Their mom were always caught and they never escaped her. She was always present, always caught her. This was the first time ever in Emma's life, in any of the children's life, that they escaped the mother.
Yes. And the reason why it doesn't make any sense in the anime is because it plays out up until that point exactly the same way. Isabella goes crazy when to bring back the children, and then as soon as she makes it up to Emma, she's like, "Oh, I'm going to try and be sympathetic here." I'm like, that just doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
I think, Luke, we should change the topic. We should just finish the stream. It goes already for 2 hours. You've raged a lot. I would like to rage more, but my parents are sleeping. They don't want to wake them up because
Okay.
I'm a little boy who still lives with his parents.
I live with my parents as well, but I've told them that, hey, I'm going to be doing this. So I'm going to wrap it up by talking about at least one good adaptation. I mean, unless
Yeah.
you had,
Open your tab.
yeah, I've opened it.
And search the anime Durarararara.
The anime what?
Du D-U
D-U.
R-A-R-A-R-A.
Oh, Duraran.
Yes.
All right.
This is a great anime. This is something you should all watch. The best fucking anime I've ever watched in my life. I've dropped it 2 times, picked it up a 3rd time, fell in love. Everyone should watch this. They speak fluent Russian in this anime.
Okay. Why is it one of your favorites? Come on, I want to know all the details now.
Want all the details because it's fucking great. This series doesn't have a specific protagonist. It's about a part of Tokyo and all the people who live there. You have the Yakuza, different kind of Yakuza, and the third is a blue and a yellow one, and you have one without colors who are called the Dollars, and who are meeting online. No one knows who's a member of it. They don't know, and they only all have pseudonyms before they are naming each other. They don't have a captain, they don't have a chef, a leader. They don't do anything. and so it's just about how all of these groups working together. You have a headless person who rides on a motorcycle
Okay.
in middle of a city. You have a person who just has so much muscles that he throws refrigerators jokingly around the fucking street. You have a black Russian guy who sells sushi, who works for the Russian mafia,
Okay.
and in all of that hell, there's this one character who everyone says don't fuck with him, and he's just a fucking random guy who wears a fucking mantle in the summer, and you will ask yourself, how is he not dying with this fucking with the clothes he has on?
And is that everything?
I don't want to spoil anything, and it's problematic for me to explain it in not my native
Well,
language.
why don't you explain like what why did you drop it twice before deciding to pick it up for a third time?
It takes a long time for it to try to catch people.
Like, have you
I've
read?
dropped it once on episode 3 and episode 6. I really got caught by it because I was spoiled by it for the series, and watched it and only really caught onto it after episode like 8, 13-ish, and that's when I really fell in love for it.
Okay, all
That's
right.
a big problem. And it's from the same guy who wrote Baccano, if you've seen that.
Oh, I haven't seen that, but it is on my. It's definitely on my list.
It's from the same people, from the same person who made that, and he wrote the Bleach novel after the manga ended.
Oh, okay, all right. I definitely will check it out at some point. So, yeah. What's your opinion? Does it capture the source material great?
The source material is great. It's stop. I see. It's great light novel. The source material is great. The manga is also great as well. It really had just it had a great studio who made it. Had a great manga for the manga, and everything on top of a great source material. Even though many people say it's not as good as Baccano, but most people are shit.
Okay. And did you have any other points you wanted to bring up?
The headless rider has a Motorrad with cat ears. She's great. Kelsey
Fair
is great.
enough. Fair enough. So I think on that front we can wrap up with the series that I consider top peak for
We are
anime
going back to Germany.
We are going back to Germany with Monster. Yeah, considering it is set in Germany now.
German salute.
Yeah, German salute. So have you read Monster?
No.
You've not read.
3 chapters.
Have you watched the anime at least?
No.
No. Okay. What I will say that works
I
great.
know every plot, every great plot twist I know already.
Okay. What I'll say is what works so great about Monster is just how much. It's just how much intricate detail goes into making this a completely faithful adaptation, because the anime came out a couple of years after the manga had already ended, so the author could be pretty much involved in making sure like it not only best represented his work, but also nothing was left out. And when I say nothing was left out, I mean nothing. It is literally verbatim, panel to panel, like literally everything gets put in there, nothing is left out, and that's just like the icing on the cake here.
Oh.
Yeah. But it does also lead to a double-edged sword of like there's not really any surprises. Like if you've read the manga or seen the anime and then go and do the other one, there's not really any surprises of just like, oh, this was different, that was different. You kind of already know where it's actually going at that point. But at the same time, it is certainly one of the more faithful adaptations that I would say a lot of anime should strive to be to be like. And again,
I have a question about the anime.
go ahead.
Would you say the English dub is better or the Japanese?
English dub, 100%. English dub, 100%.
But what if I want to have good German pronunciation? Because Japanese people are extremely good at pronouncing German names, unlike the English speaker.
I would say watch it for yourself and make that judgment call for yourself. In my opinion, like if I was going to pick the one series that I would absolutely watch in English every single time, it would be Monster. Like,
Alright.
because it's just something about the Japanese that just makes me that's just like I'm not really feeling it. I'm not really feeling this for the characters. I don't know why it. I don't know why it is. It's just an itch that I'm just like.
What do we learn from it? Watch it in German because it plays in Germany. Every person talks German.
I'm just gonna. I think the main reason why I prefer it in English over the Japanese is because the series is long. It's like 74 episodes long, and it's not really like an action-oriented series. I feel like the Japanese can make it feel a little bit just make it feel longer than it is. Whereas I feel like the English dub, it comes off a lot more natural, in my opinion. I mean, like you said, this is all down to you. It's all down to personal preference. But you want to know what you want to know what's crazy about it?
What is this?
Like, you've seen Bleach, haven't you?
I did.
Yeah. The guy who plays Coyote Stark in Bleach is the same guy that plays Johan in Monster in the dub.
Nice. I don't know how Stark sounds in the dub. In the English dub, that is.
Well, here's the thing: his voice is very different from the two characters. Like, I was shocked. I was genuinely surprised when it.
That's something most voice actors can do. You need to be able to switch 180. I can't sound like this.
Yeah. And we have and we also have another Bleach actor from there. The guy who played Songetsu in Old Man Songetsu in Bleach is the same. It's the same actor for one of the main characters in Monster.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm honest, I want to watch the English dub just to see how they butcher the German pronunciations.
Okay, you can you could do that if you really want, if you really feel like it's gonna do that.
It was animated by Madhouse.
It was animated by Madhouse.
I mean, that was the oldest. They were not so known for the good animations, but still, it does. In my opinion, it really does capture the manga, because the art style for the manga, it's not like as flashy as some other series. It's very much grounded in reality, as opposed to like some of the other series that we've talked about today. It's one of the more grounded series. It's pretty much a series that I could see being adapted into live action, and it's
not
the only grounded series that you talked about.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like I said, it's pretty much a series that I could see if they really wanted to do a live action series.
And I should play Johan.
I think I should play Johan.
I should play Johan. You are not German enough for Johan.
Okay.
I should play Johan.
Yeah,
what was his name? Johan Liebert.
Johan Liebert.
I'm Johan Liebert.
Yeah. So,
I confused him. He's confused, guys.
I am not.
He has a 32% chance to hit himself.
I am not confused. I'm just looking up a couple of things. Johan's dub voice actor was Coyote Stark, and Tensa Songetsu,
awesome.
which is pretty awesome. And the main character, Dr. Tenma, his English voice actor Leo O'Brien, he was who was he? Who was he? He played Gara in Naruto.
You're talking as if I know how the people sound in English. Me, a German guy who consumes Japanese media, do you really think I know how both the English people sound, how the English speaking
Yes,
people
you
sound?
should do. You
I
should do.
don't. You should know how the German guys sound.
I already know because I'm talking to one right now.
But do you know how the German Johann sounds? No, you
I have
don't.
no.
So you
I
don't.
have no idea. But
See?
yeah, Monster as a series is one of those series that I first watched in the anime form, and then I went and read the manga, and I was generally surprised. Like, oh wow, this is really the pinnacle of Fate for Adaptations, and it makes me happy to know that. For all the bad adaptations that will get out there, for all the Record of Ragnaroks, for all the Promised Neverlands, that are good, for all the Berserks that are good, solid adaptations, and Monster is definitely one of them. It's like the top standard that I look for with an adaptation, even though I know that's a pretty high pedestal to climb on. And there have been ones that have come close, like with Bakuman, but I've not read the manga of Bakuman, so I can't really judge on that one. And,
I
and Doctor Stone as well.
Yeah, and I must say, one of the best anime we got in the latest years was Vinland Saga. Something you should all read. No, you shouldn't read it. You should watch it.
Okay. Wait, and on
This
that
is a high praise.
note, I feel like we will end it there. So for anyone who watches this on the, because this will be going on the Control Chaos channel as a modcast. So hope you guys enjoyed us rambling, ranting, raving, getting hype about the series, and
Screaming at
um,
serious.
and look forward to Sunday when I will be doing another modcast with Furman and Mr. Tyler Pancake debating death battles, and Arbor will not be joining us for that one because he does not know a lot about death battles to give
Yeah.
a full comparison.
But
And all,
yeah, go on.
yeah, and also as well, for all you Power Rangers fans out there, look forward to when after we've done the binge of Dino Fury, we do a Power Rangers modcast, me and Vex, and hopefully Mr.
I'm
Son
just going
get
to join the Power Rangers podcast just to shit on you guys for liking
You
Power Rangers. Without
well,
just
we
a
could.
single episode, I'm just going to join to shit on you guys.
You cannot judge until you've watched it fully.
I can judge.
You cannot judge.
Shut the fuck up, look, I can
You
judge.
have not seen.
Germans always judging the British.
You
I
have not
can.
seen. You have not seen Power Rangers RPM, so you cannot judge. But on that front, we will leave it there. So until next time, peace.
Thank you for listening. The European guys love you.